What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another video. Week 1 was a great week in the NFL. A lot of good games. For Browns fans, not so much, but for everyone else, pretty competitive games. And if you listened to my picks from last week, your wallets had a good week as well. We're starting off the season 5-0. Last week, I picked Green Bay plus 2.5, Seattle minus 1.5, New England minus 7, Jacksonville plus 8, and Pittsburgh minus 6. And they all hit. I was 5-0. But it's a new week, so let's dive right into this week's picks. My first pick for this week is going to be Jacksonville plus 9 at the Tennessee Titans. Jacksonville just beat the Indianapolis Colts as 8-point underdogs. They won 27-20. So a team that won and just beat a team outright, and a team in Tennessee who looked pretty bad on Monday Night Football. And we don't even know if they have a kicker coming into week 2. All of that equals the Jags to be 9-point underdogs. To me, that just doesn't make sense. I don't see the logic at all in that reasoning and where they're getting, 9 points. Jacksonville held the Colts duo of Nyheim Hines and rookie Jonathan Taylor to just 16 carries for 50 yards. That's 3.1 yards per carry. Of course, Jonathan Taylor is, his first, I think he had 9 carries of his NFL career, but still held both of them to just over 3 yards per carry. Ryan Tannehill, he's good off play action, but if you have to make him drop back, if you're not buying the run, make him actually throw from shotgun or under center without the play action, he hasn't been very good. That's his whole thing with the Titans, is he comes off play action, off a Derrick Henry play action, and he finds open receivers. If the Jags can shut down Derrick Henry like the Broncos did on Monday night, held him to 31 carries for 116 yards, that's 3.7 yards per carry, then I think the Jags have a good shot to win this game outright, if not cover the 9-point spread. My next pick for week number 2 is the Denver Broncos plus 7.5 at Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, I know this pick may seem a little outrageous just because we've already seen what Pittsburgh did on Monday night. Big Ben seems like he's back. The defense held Saquon Barkley to like 6 yards rushing on 15 attempts, like some outrageous number. But I think Drew Lock looked really impressive. I think Denver should have easily won that game. I think they had a couple drops from Jerry Jeudy. They had a clutch one at the end of the game on, I believe, like a 3rd and 5. Drew Lock hit him with a perfect pass and Jeudy dropped it. I mean, his first game ever. I was really impressed by Drew Lock. I think he handled pressure well. He got out of the pocket. And in a game where you're going to have TJ Watt coming off the edge, I really think that Drew Lock is going to be able to step up to the occasion and keep this to a close game. And not to mention that all the injuries Denver dealt with during that game. AJ Boye was out with the shoulder injury. Von Miller, right before the season, missed time with, I believe, a knee or ankle injury. Cortland Sutton had a shoulder injury and missed the game. So there's a lot of injuries. Oh, not to mention too, Phillip Lindsay, a really good running back, was out with turf toe. That's 4 weapons I just named right off the top of my head that have been out for Denver. So, what Drew Lock did and just the whole Denver team against Tennessee was actually pretty impressive. Big Ben, he did look healthy again. But the Steelers offense, it took a while to get going. They don't have James Conner. It's Benny Snell. And I don't think Benny Snell's very good, to be honest. I think they played a pretty terrible Giants defense. And Daniel Jones, I wouldn't say he played very well in that game, but he still threw 2 touchdowns against the Steelers defense and a long bomb. What's to say, Drew Lock can't do the same? Melvin Gordon's in the backfield. Will he get shut down? I find it hard to believe that the Steelers defense will really do, a 15 for 6 yards again, especially with how good Melvin Gordon is as a talent. But if Denver can slow down Pittsburgh's rushing attack, I think Drew Lock can have a big day through the air. And not to mention, if Cortland Sutton comes back, that's just another weapon at his disposal. So I like Denver plus 7.5 at Pittsburgh. My third pick for week number 2 is the Minnesota Vikings plus 3 at the Indianapolis Colts. Now, Jonathan Taylor only averaged 2.4 yards per carry in week 1. Now, it was his first carries, as an NFL player. Gardner Minshew last week went 19 for 20 with 3 touchdowns against the Colts. Minnesota just put up 34 points. Kirk Cousins, that offense, they chased Aaron Rodgers. Of course, they didn't win, but they put up 34 points, where the Colts only put up 20 against Jacksonville, who was supposed to come into the season as the worst team in the league. They're tanking. There's no chance they're going to be good. I just don't trust Phillip Rivers to win me a bet ever. I don't hate the Colts, but Phillip Rivers scares me. He threw 2 interceptions, like very costly interceptions in that first week 1 game against Jacksonville. Jacksonville seems like they're not the worst team in the world, but The Colts should have easily won that game, and they just couldn't do it. The Vikings lost to Aaron Rodgers, which I expect everyone to do. Aaron Rodgers is still elite. I don't think Phillip Rivers is, and I don't trust this Colts team right now as it stands, especially after week 1. So I'm going to take the Minnesota Vikings +3. Before I start, appreciating the Colts, I need Phillip Rivers and that team to really prove something to me. I trust Kirk Cousins. I know Adam Thielen's great. I know Dalvin Cook is great. I trust that team. My 4th game for week number 2 is the Buffalo Bills -5.5 at the Miami Dolphins. Just to be honest, Ryan Fitzpatrick is a bad QB. He does the thing every year where he has that one miracle season where he really comes back and a team thinks he can be their starter or their bridge quarterback. And then what does he do? Last week, I believe he threw 3 interceptions. I know he at least had 2. He didn't look good. That whole Dolphins offense looked horrible last week against the Patriots. And Buffalo has one of, if not the best defense in the entire league. The Dolphins have no rushing attack. It was Myles Gaskins was their starter. Matt Breida didn't really play much. Jordan Howard is mostly a goal line back. They have no rushing attack. And I don't know if Devontae Parker's even playing in that game. I wouldn't be surprised if Ryan Fitzpatrick comes out this week and he doesn't have a good game, loses another, in division, in conference matchup against, the Buffalo, and he gets benched next week or 2 weeks from now for Tua. I can see that happening. I'm not the biggest Josh Allen fan in the world because he's not the most accurate quarterback, but what I saw him do last week, he led the offense and he looked a lot better than he has in the past. The Patriots held the Dolphins to just 11 points in week 1. I'm pretty confident that Buffalo can score 24, 27, 30 points and hold Miami to 14 to 20, in the 20 range. So I just believe in Buffalo. And Buffalo didn't even run the ball last week either. I know Zach Moss and Devin Singletary only had 6 or 7 carries apiece. If you get that even higher and you get the running game going with the passing game, I just think Buffalo is going to be one of those teams that they're going to be really hard to stop this year. So I trust Buffalo over Miami easily any day of the week. My 5th and final game for week number 2 is the Seattle Seahawks -4 at the New England Patriots. I have a lot of road teams this week, but Seattle, I just don't think the Patriots will be able to keep up with Russell Wilson and the Seahawks. Cam Newton played okay in week 1, but he hardly threw the ball. And I don't know if New England really has enough weapons. They have N'Keal Harry, who is the big guy. Julian Edelman, of course, in the slot, but I hate all their running backs. I think James White's a good pass catching back. I think Sony Michel is terrible. I don't even think he should be a starting running back on any team. So I just don't like the Patriots. I liked them last week because they were playing Miami, but if what I saw in week 1 is what I'm going to expect going forward, I don't expect a lot from the Patriots just because they only threw the ball, maybe 20, 25 times. They ran the ball a ton. Cam Newton got a lot of carries, which is great, but, I need to see Cam do a little bit more. Wilson did the thing that I wanted to see Seattle do with him, which is, unleash him. I wanted to see, him start from the beginning, not, they run the ball, pound the rock, get behind in the 4th quarter, and they go, all right, Russell, we're down in the 4th. You can start throwing the ball, because that's what they always do. But in week 1, they let him throw from the start. Chris Carson only had 6 carries. Travis Homer had 5. Carlos Hyde had 6. That was 16 combined carries as a team, I'm pretty sure. 16, that's it, from all the running backs. Russell Wilson only threw the ball 35 times, but that's because he threw so many touchdowns. He threw 4 and 35 attempts. That's just really good numbers. That's good efficiency. So I just trust Seattle. I have a rule where I don't bet against Seattle. I always bet with Seattle. I trust them more than any team in the NFL. I love Seattle. I love Russell Wilson. I think he's the best quarterback in the league, probably second behind Patrick Mahomes, I'll be honest, but I still think Russell Wilson's one of the most, underrated, underappreciated players in the league. So almost every week, I'm going to take Seattle -4 at New England. I just trust Russell Wilson more than any player in the entire NFL. And all right, those are my week 2 NFL bets. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. If you liked the video, please leave a like below and subscribe to the channel. We have plenty of content coming over the fantasy football season and regular NFL season as well. Comment down below who you guys are betting this week and which picks you disagree with me on. And remember to subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys next time.